are going, buddy knows all big happy faces. No. So welcome everybody that is watching this. We are from Connect Ottawa, and today we're looking forward to hearing from Quentin Thomas, who is going to be talking about beating the rut. So that is perfect timing given what we've been going through. So really looking forward to that. But what we like to do first is we're going to go around the room and do some quick introductions so everybody can share who you are, what you do. As Bernie mentioned, drop that into the chat box so people can click your links and connect with on LinkedIn or wherever, because this is the one nice thing about all these calls. When you come to one, be proactive. Pick one person out of the crowd. It could be 5, but maybe it's only 1 if that's good with you, and reach out, really find out and start that relationship, who they are, what they do. Maybe you can help each other, because when you're in business, that's what you need to be doing, networking and growing. So this is a great opportunity, no matter what call you are on, to do that. So Connect Ottawa was born. Our partner is Stefan is on the call, and Bernie. And we started when the pandemic started, for those that weren't sure. We have been going strong for 2 years and reinventing with version 2. Stefan, did you want to do a quick share of where our new social network that we're going to be launching that people could join?
Okay, so I'm Stefan John Metro. I'm the creator of UnifyRemote.work, but also a business partner and shareholder with Connect Ottawa. And we've been working for almost a year now on a new social media networking app that is about to be released, that gives more extensive or extended features to the user, freedom of choice of doing some activities that you couldn't do prior with the previous one. So that's pretty much that, and it's just about having a meeting with the co-founders here, Margaret Ann Davis and the wonderful Bernie Frankscott. And when they give me a date, then everything is going to be enrolled, and you will be all invited to that new piece of software.
Perfect. So stay tuned. It's really exciting to be able to do that. So on that note, we're going to go around the room quickly, give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves. And I think we're going to start with the amazing Kristen today.
Thank you so much, Margaret Ann. And again, thank you, Bernie, so much for the invitation. My name is Kristen Wyzak. I'm the CEO and founder of Behavior Works of Southwestern PA, where we help parents and professionals go from surviving to thriving as they navigate behavior with children with autism and special needs. And so we help them in one of 2 ways. We offer half and full day trainings, and our outpatient clinic is opening on March 1st. So thank you guys so much.
Great to have you here, Kristen. Hey, and how about Anna?
Oh, see, my sound is working. That's great. Hello, hello, guys. It's great to see you again. I'm Anna. I'm a management consultant, and I basically partner with business owners to reduce the complexity of aligning leadership with the visions and the purpose and the operations. That is what I do. So if you need any help with your business, just let me know.
Perfect. Great to have you here. And Alexander, nice to see you.
And mute.
You're on.
Yeah, you're right. Nice to see you guys. Bernie, thank you very much for reminding me about today.
Pleasure.
Margaret Ann, nice haircut.
Oh, thank you. Fun.
So, hi, my name is Alexander Thorek. I'm a founder of consulting firm Thor Solution. So what I do, I help business owners and entrepreneurs to increase their influence and build high-performing team. Basically, what I do leadership coaching and culture consulting. I help business leaders to grow their organizational cultures to the highest level of effectiveness. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Nice to see you again, Alexander. Okay, how about we have Abby?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Margaret Ann, Bernie, nice to see you again. Well, good afternoon. I'm here in Ottawa, and I work in the nonprofit sector. I manage a former high school, Rideau High School, which is now turned into a community hub for nonprofits. We are home to about 20 nonprofits. So I've been managing that project for about 3.5 years now. And I'm a founder of my own nonprofit called Nutrition Blocks. And what we do is we design and develop food security programs in collaboration with existing community organizations.
Okay, well, it's great to have you here, Abby. Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
And how about, I'm not sure, is Greg there? And maybe not, so we'll move over to Bernie.
Folks, who is Bernie? Well, Bernie is a connector, a B2B. Creative Insight Consultants is what I do. I just posted some more stuff in the chat again about my contact information. You want to book a meeting with me? The link is there. Promoting right now a podcast called The Property Wizard. So if you're interested in investing in real estate, and it doesn't have to be country specific, it covers all the topics that are pretty salient everywhere. So that's what I do. I connect folks, and I offer them up for information to other people. And over to you, Margaret Ann.
Oh, there's Greg now. Okay, well, we'll go down to Greg. Would you like to introduce yourself, Greg?
Hi there. Sorry, I have a new dog who just kind of went a bit crazy.
Oh,
It's like, switch the video off. My name is Greg Friel from Freelance Music and Media. I'm based in Glasgow, and I'm friends with Quentin. He told me about this. I heard he was speaking, so I thought I'd come and annoy him. I work in music and marketing. My background's in the music industry as a singer, songwriter, record producer, and video director. I do all kinds of content marketing for businesses. I particularly help them with podcasts. I do everything audio. I do voiceover. I do jingles and production music for commercials. I do high-end video production, all that kind of side of things. So anything to do with content online, I particularly focus on brand storytelling, high-end brand videos. So if anything to do with audio and video, then please give me a shout.
cool. Well, great to have you here, Greg. It's nice to
Thank you.
support there for Quentin. Are you nervous now, Quentin?
Just a tad.
So I'm Margaret Ann, and again, I'm one of the partners in Connect Ottawa. I'm also a partner with Stefan in Unified Remote Workplace. And what I do is I like to seek out entrepreneurs that are looking forward to moving forward in the game. We have the tools and technologies to help. We're introducing new memberships with Connect Ottawa. And really, it's all about team building, getting us together to have real conversations with real people to really move forward collectively. And that's what I like doing. So I've enjoyed the last couple of years on these calls. We've got to meet people internationally. A lot of that I'll say is due to Bernie, because he goes across the world and brings them back in. So that's awesome. And on that note, I'm going to pass it over to Bernie, who's going to introduce our dynamic speaker today. So take it away, Bernie.
I think we have Stefan to do his intro still.
Oh, sorry, Stefan. I hadn't talked about the Connect Ottawa. So, okay, go ahead.
So what do you want me to do?
Go ahead.
Smile and
Quickly share
wave.
then.
It's all good, man.
Well, I'm Uncle Frenchie. No, I'm Stephen John Metrol. I'm a serial entrepreneur, creator of and co-founder of UnifiedRemote.work. I'm also an executive with Connect Ottawa, and we are developing a complete new ecosystem for the community, both for professionals and entrepreneurs. And we're about to launch the new social media networking app for entrepreneurs and professionals.
Thank you. And sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Stefan, thank you so much. Well, folks, have a story to tell you. Yeah. Let me introduce Quentin Thomas. I'm going to put in the chat right now. He's got an offer if you want to do a 30-minute follow-up chat with him. There's the link to make that happen. However, that said, Quentin is a man with a varied background. He's a traveler from Africa to Scotland, and with a layover a bit in, I believe, in France, if I was not mistaken. So he is a Edinburgh-based transition coach. He works with professionals who are unhappy at work. How's that possible? He helps them identify what's stopping them from changing, build the courage and confidence to go for the next goal, focus. He works with each individual because each person is unique and requires a different solution. So he finds that solution. In his training as a coach and in his work is he helps bring his experiences forward and helping people change their career path. I'm going to stop there because Quentin's got a better way to tell this story. Over to you, Quentin.
Thanks, Bernie. The only thing I would say is that the stop, rather than being France, was Italy, but it might have been from a previous conversation because I am French, so that's maybe where it came from. But no, thanks for inviting me, and thanks for everyone for attending. Like Bernie said, I'm Quentin. I'm a transition coach, and I work with professionals who feel stuck in a job that they don't like, and I help them figure out what the core problem is, then identify what they want to do, and then go for it. And today I'm going to be talking about the use case of feeling in a rut, feeling in a job that you don't like, and embracing change, and more particularly career change, and going for work that you love. And I know that most of you, like if all of you, are entrepreneurs, but you probably all are familiar with the sensation of being unhappy at work. The idea of waiting for every minute, counting every minute till the end of the day, every day until the end of the week, and then having that sinking feeling on Sunday evenings because you know that you're going to have to do it all over again the next day. Or it might not be that terrible, and maybe you're not feeling fulfilled anymore. You're not feeling challenged anymore at work. Maybe you feel that you've been there for a little bit too long. You've been doing what you are doing for a little bit too long. And so what I'm going to focus today is really looking how people can actually change that. And we know that a lot of people are in jobs that they don't like. But then why are so few actually doing something about it in terms of percentage-wise? Well, one of the main reasons is that changing career can be something that is extremely scary and overwhelming, so much so that it leaves people literally petrified, not doing anything, paralyzed by the sheer size of the challenge, all the doubts and all the questions that are going through their minds. What else would I do? How do I figure that out? What if I pick the wrong thing? What if I don't like it? What if I'm not good at it? Can I afford to? What can I afford to change? What if I fail? And so my goal today is essentially taking that back and reducing that sense of overwhelm so that people are then ready to take the first few steps. Because at the end of the day, action is key. That is really the case for any form of change. If you don't take action, you don't change, and therefore you stay where you are. That can be applicable in any single situation. And the way I'm going to do that is by taking away the biggest obstacle of all, arguably the biggest obstacle of all, which is the prospect of quitting your job. And so I'm going to be sharing 3 steps that people can do even before you have to start thinking about quitting your job. And I'll also share 3 lessons that I learned over the years that helped me overcome the fear of career change. Now, I'm not going to be sharing my screen, like there won't be any slides, but Bernie, I believe in an email, which might be later today or tomorrow, I'm not quite sure, Bernie will tell you later, but you'll be sharing a document that I've created, which covers all of the key points that I'll be going through. So you don't have to worry about remembering every single thing I say, because you'll always be able to refer back to that document. So let's go straight into it. The first step that you can take before you even have to think about changing or quitting your job is first and foremost identifying what the core problem is. Because you need to understand what exactly is the reason why you're unhappy at work. Sure, it might be because you're doing the wrong work and the best thing for you is to change careers. But it could be something else. It could be that you are in the wrong job, but it also could be that you're in the wrong company, working in the wrong environment, or working in the wrong team, or your manager might be the problem. I've met a large number of people who loved their job, and then there was a change in management, and then they went from loving it to hating it. Or your mindset might be wrong. You might be focusing on the negatives rather than the positives. or your work-life balance is off. The list goes on and on. But it's important to really identify what that core problem is, so that you can then identify the best solution for you. And there are a couple of exercises that can help with that. The first one is by answering the following questions. What is it that you don't like about your job and why? What are the responsibilities that you don't like doing and why? What don't you like about your company and why? What don't you like about your manager and why? What don't you like about your colleagues and why? Which are the colleagues or type of colleagues that you don't like working with and why? And the second exercise is essentially the reverse. What do you like about your job? What do you like about, which responsibilities do you like and why? What do you like about your company and why? What do you like about your manager and why? What do you like about your colleagues and why? Because you might not like your job, but it's very unlikely that you will dislike every single thing about it. And so the second exercise might help you realize that there's more about your job that you do enjoy. And even if you decide that the right thing for you is a career change, well, these questions and the answers to them will provide a basic framework, initial framework of what you can seek and what you should avoid in your future career. Now, let's assume that you've done all of that and you've come to the conclusion that a career change is the right thing for you. Well, then the next step is figuring out, what do you want to do? And with that, I would like you to focus on 3 areas. One is your strengths. What are you good at? What comes naturally to you? And I'd encourage you to pose these questions to people that know you well and that you trust, because we often don't recognize strengths that we actually have. The second is interests. What do you love doing? What do you love talking about, reading about? What are the tasks that you do that when doing them, you lose track of time because you're enjoying them so much? And the third is success. What does success mean to you? What is your definition of success? What are the tasks that you find fulfilling? What are the things that fulfill you? And once you've answered all these questions, I'd like you to take the answers along with the answers to the questions in the first step and then review them. Filter out the things that maybe aren't applicable or that are not relevant to your career aspirations. For example, you might be a great cook or might love painting, but you might not necessarily want to include them in your professional life. And look for patterns, look for what stands out, but don't overanalyze. It's very unlikely that you'll figure out what you want to do by simply thinking about it or by reading books or doing personality tests. So do not spend several days or week doing that, and move on to the next step, which is the third step, which is experimenting. You'll never know whether you really like something or not until you've actually tried it. So it's important to take the answers that you've come up with, the areas and interests that stand out, and to try them out. Start a new hobby, go to webinars, conferences, workshops, do courses, trainings, talk to people who work in fields that you are interested in or do what you might be interested in. When coaching became a possibility for me, it only started as a nice idea, but I wasn't sure whether it was really something that I wanted to do. But I was interested enough to start researching and talking to other coaches, or to coaches, since I wasn't a coach back then, to really understand, well, what is coaching about? What will it look like? What will it feel like? What are the pros and cons? What would I need to do to become a coach? And as my interest increased, I decided to take it to the next level and actually experience coaching firsthand as a coach. And to do that, I did an accreditation course. And it's only at the end of that course that I decided this is something that I really want to do, and then went for it. But I would never have come to that conclusion if I had only thought about it and not done all of the work after that. And beyond the 3 steps I've just described, there are several others. One big one being around finances. But the objective here is about taking action, taking the first few steps, reducing the overwhelm so that you're ready to take the first few steps. And once you've taken these steps, you'll be ready to take the next ones. But it's important to get that initial momentum. And now let's move to the 3 lessons that I learned over the years that helped me overcome the fear of changing career. The first one was, don't try to figure out what your one true passion is. That's something that I did for a long time. I tried to figure out what was the one thing for me. What was the thing that I would love so much that I would get up every morning to do and do for the rest of my life. But then as I went through different career directions, every time I changed, I started getting more and more worried. I thought that maybe there was something wrong with me, that maybe I didn't have a passion. Maybe I was one of these people who would never actually like what I did. But then I realized that we all have multiple interests, and a passion is essentially an interest that has been developed, that you've worked on, and essentially evolves into a passion. And therefore, we're all capable of having several passions, which means that there isn't just one career path for each of us. We all have multiple possible career paths that would fulfill us and get the best out of us. The second lesson is you can change at any time. Let's say you decide to change in a few months, do something completely different. And then 10 years from now, you decide that you don't want to do that work anymore. Number one is you can just change again, just like you did the first time. But the important thing is the reason why you want to change isn't necessarily because you picked the wrong thing in the first place. What you want to do today is probably very different to what you want to do 10 years ago, and probably different to what you'll want to do 10 years from now. We all change over time. Our interests change, our situations change, our priorities change. And therefore, it doesn't make sense to think about what do I want to do as what do I want to do for the rest of my life. And you might say, well, that's not how I approach it. But a lot of people, even unconsciously, approach it in that way, that we put so much pressure on ourselves to pick the right thing that we ended up not picking anything. And so one thing that helped for me was, instead of thinking, what do I want to do? I just focused on what did I want to do next? And that took a lot of the pressure away. And the last lesson, the third lesson, is that there's no such thing as wasted time. After I finished high school, I went on to study biology in Bath in England. But then after 2 years, I decided to change and move to Edinburgh to study physics. And for quite a while, I saw these 2 years in Bath as being wasted, that I'd lost 2 years of my life that I was never getting back. And it really bugged me. And I wished that I had just known straight from the start that going to Bath and studying biology would be a mistake, and I could have just gone straight to Edinburgh. But it's only later on that I realized that there was a ridiculous way of looking at it. And I'm 100% sure that if I had gone straight to Edinburgh from high school, my time there would not have been as successful as it ended up being after my time in Bath. Because the experiences that I went through, the challenges that I had to overcome, and the things that I learned set me up for my success in Edinburgh. And so no matter how big the change you might do, you might be going into a completely different industry, or going from setting up your own business to a completely different business. That doesn't mean that whatever time you spent before is going to be wasted, because the skills that you developed will go with you. The experiences that you went through will go with you, and how you've grown as a person is going to go with you as well. So there's no such thing as wasted time. You learn from each experience. So to summarize, even before you have to think about quitting your job, you can understand what the core problem is, identify what are the things that you would like to do, and then experiment with them to really zero in on the thing that you would like to try next. But remember, don't try and figure out what is your one true passion. You can change it at any point, and there is no such thing as wasted time. And I hope that anyone who is within that situation, any of you that might be watching, by this time will feel the overwhelm has gone down and is ready to take the first steps. Because as I've said already twice, taking action is the key. That is, if there's anything to go away from, if there's anything that I would like you to remember when you go away from this, is that action is the thing that matters in the end. It doesn't matter how much groundwork thinking that you can do before. If you don't take action, you're going to stay where you are. You are going to change. And even though it's in theory very simple, I'm definitely not saying that it's easy. It is really hard, but anyone can do it. So anyone in this room, anyone anywhere can do it. All it takes is just one small step at a time. Thank you.
Love it. Great job. Okay, let's get us on gallery view there. Okay, perfect. Quentin, that was wonderful. While you were saying it, I'm just going to make a quick comment and then we'll get on to some questions. I've been having several conversations with a lot of people, not just about careers. You really hit home today when you were saying that it's the same steps for a lot of maybe these youth that have not left the basement, and we're trying to figure out ways to help them. And so you just sharing that, I think that's it. Have it like, actually, maybe having a coach, or the career counseling in school doesn't seem to do quite the job, but I love this. It doesn't matter, just start, right? Start someplace, check it off the list. And yeah, thank you very much. I just really appreciated it. Okay, Kristen, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, Quentin, I think that more folks like you are needed, because as we face this great resignation, I think more people need specific techniques on how to move forward and choosing a career and something that they're passionate about. Mm-hmm. One thing that resonated with me is you talked about action being the most important step, but it's uncomfortable as an entrepreneur to move forward a lot of times. And you talked about being worried as you move in through that phase of being uncomfortable. So one thing that I've had to do as an entrepreneur is a lot of work on my mindset. Are there any resources or books that you would recommend for entrepreneurs in regards to mindset?
Entrepreneurs in general. This is not really for entrepreneurs in general. This is a book that helped me a lot when I started off. When I finished my accreditation, my mentor actually gave me a book which was called "Who the Fuck Am I to Be a Coach?" And I'm sorry for the for the swearing, but that was the title. And I think a lot of things in that book apply to entrepreneurs, in which we start off because I started a coaching business. It was really about starting the business as well. It wasn't whether it was a coaching business or another business, didn't really matter so much, because a lot of the time the things that are going to stop us from taking actions are limiting beliefs that we have. And so that was just addressed, the limiting belief of like, well, who am I to start this? Who am I to do this? And so that very much helped me with my mindset in that. But trying to think of something that is around mindsets that is not specifically for coaches.
Well, even without those resources, I think just even, having that book as a resource, but also just having people understand that it is a lot of mindset work. When whatever you're stepping into any role, like coaching or any sort of new venture, there is so much around mindset and waking up and being uncomfortable every day, but moving towards that passion. So I think what you're doing and the way you're doing it is so fantastic. So thank you so much.
And sorry.
No, go ahead, Quentin.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, the one other book that came to mind, which is the last book that I read, which you might argue is not necessarily just around mindset, but it's a book called How to Empty Your Stress Bucket. It's written by a friend of mine called Jen Lally. I'm not sure if Greg, you've met her, but she's based in Edinburgh. You do know, right? And that is very much applicable to anyone, in which she works in solution-focused therapy, and it's all about focusing on the positives and really going forward. But really, I mean, the philosophy of coaching, which is going forward, taking action. And it is one really nice book because it's the exact type of book that I like when it comes to self-development. It's concise, it's to the point, with useful examples and exercises. And it's something that, as a business owner, I've enjoyed, particularly because it helps with the everyday mindset, the really keeping a positive mindset, which can be extremely difficult, especially when you're a solopreneur and you're really, a lot of the time, you're on your own in your own head. And so focusing on the positives, the things that you accomplish, what was good about your day, your week, is something that's really important, because it's so easy to focus on the negatives and forget about all the progress you made. So it's a lot more general than what you might have asked, but it came to mind, so I thought I'd share that.
And you know what I'm going to say, Quentin, because I did open up, Bernie sent me over your file that everybody's going to get a copy of. And I actually believe going through what your presentation is actually a big factor in mindset, right? It's, acknowledging what are the things that you like, what are the things you don't like. So I'm just going to refer back to Quentin saying the biggest thing is that we can come to as many seminars or things that we want, but it's our inability to take action that gets in our way. So even using, I'm going to say, I'm looking at it, I'm going, it's pretty theory, even downloading what everybody's going to get today and really taking some time to think about those questions. A lot of times when we go to move forward, we have to, exactly like you say, find out what we don't like, right? What is it in the job that's really bugging us? And it is interesting. Maybe it is only one thing. Maybe it's not the whole thing. It's just a couple little things, eh? And that's taking that off the list definitely brings clarity into where we want to be. And if we can figure out where we want to be, it's a lot easier. Because then we can go or hang around with a group of people like this, if you're an entrepreneur, and going, okay, I'm going to hang around with like-minded people that are going to support me and they're not going to think I'm nuts, So I'm just sharing that, like your little twist on, whether you're working for somebody or if you're an entrepreneur, it kind of can go side by side. And I really like your document that everybody's going to have the ability to open up and dive into today. So who's next? Any more questions out there? Oh, Alexander. Oh, sorry, Bernie. Okay, Bernie.
Oh, that's right. No, that's right. Go ahead, Alexander. I get to talk all the time, man. Go for it.
Go ahead, Alexander.
Okay. Quentin, I just want to tell you that I really enjoyed your video that you published last time on LinkedIn. You were talking about how to take an action, you just encourage people that they have to take an action and so on. But I also have a question. What would you advise to business owners who take decisions and who want to change their organization, but they are not willing to change? That I think you have seen those situations also where we have a lot of organizations or a lot of business owners, so smart people, so nice people, but they not willing to change or to take, not just to take a decision, just to change, to make next step, let's say. Mm-hmm. So they need to change a culture, but they are not willing to change that culture. What would you advise to those people?
I mean, there's a simple framework that I often go back to. Is the first thing is awareness. You have to understand, well, what's the reason they're not willing to change? What's stopping them? The reason might not always be apparent. So digging into that and really understanding it is crucial, because just like I said at the beginning, for you to identify the correct solution, you have to also be clear about what the problem is. And that is something that people are often not clear about. And then once you've actually done that, then it all comes down to making a choice of what you're going to do with that. Some people might decide that they completely disagree, they're not going to do anything about it. Some people decide they want to do something about it. And then after that, it's about implementing what their solution is. And if it's identifying what their solution is, when it comes to that discomfort of, because it often comes back down to the discomfort of getting out of your comfort zone and the unwillingness to get out of your comfort zone. So how can you actually break that problem down? What is like one small step that you can take to get going? And I know like what I'm saying is very general because I guess I don't know like the specific problem, but it is about getting used to taking these actions, getting that momentum going, because it can often be the hardest thing is to actually take that first step to actually get going. So that's a little bit general, I know, but just that is the approaching, like, let's say a variety of problems. That would be the way I would look at it. In terms of like specific solutions, I guess that would be very much case by case dependent.
Yeah, but it's not really just specific solution, just general solution that they just have to take an action.
At the end of the day, yes. It's simple theory, complicated like in action. It's the thing that that sound like in theory is always very simple, but then in practice it's very difficult.
And isn't that so true, Quentin? Sorry, guys, like that is. I mean, we know what we need to be doing, and yet sometimes we can just be paralyzed, right? And not to take that next step. So interesting. I see some of us sitting back and smiling and going, yeah, I understand, been there. So Bernie, did you want to go? Did you have a question? And then Anna?
I do, but Anna, go ahead.
Okay.
You were talking about experimentation. I think that's crucial, but whether you're an entrepreneur or an individual that wants to make changes. And I often think that the entrepreneurs basically could, instead of making this huge amount of change all at once, they could actually take it in small steps and see how the effects of it is, because then they would also avoid the feeling of being overwhelmed by not only having to change themselves in a new setting, but maybe also the lack of knowing where the final destination is. And it's because when you operate with more variables, it will eventually go off the rails at some point. It will. I mean, I don't know any person that ever undertaken an implementation and you've ended up exactly following the script. I don't think that's ever happened. So it's very important, I think, that we are open as persons, curious about making small changes in various ways. It doesn't have to be as dramatic as changing a job or a business or whatever. It could be anything. Take up a new sport, new hobby, whatever. But I think experimentation is key in life in general, to keep our curiosity fed and our inspiration going. So I like you focused on that, Pete.
Thanks.
Okay, so Bernie, do you want to?
Yeah. So the one thing I recognized from two instances in my previous job. My boss always said, if you go to a seminar or a webinar or whatever it is, you come away with at least one thing, it's a bonus. It's the thing. So everything we're going through in life is an experience. It adds value to our point of view and our growth. The other thing I noticed, because it was a hospital, you would see nursing staff eventually rotate out of doing bedside care, and they would do different things like occupational health, right? Because then it would be still within their profession, but outside of it. And that's the key. If you can move around, that way you don't get stale, bored, unless of course your job continuously changes and morphs, and if that appeases your inner framework, right, then that's a good thing. And so I've noticed that happening. So there was a Harvard Business Review article that had it. If you're a lawyer and let's say you like playing music and strumming a guitar, well, yeah, at a certain point in time, you might be satiated being legal counsel, in which case you have another career path, and it gives you an opportunity to veer out. And I guess the only thing you'll have to worry about is your financial resources. Otherwise, it's a point of view, much like Kristen was saying, right? Where your headspace is at. If your ego is getting in the way, that might be a problem too. In which case, that's why you need outside help, because they provide that reflection back. Mayank, go ahead.
First of all, hello everyone. I was not a little bit late, but I was too late here for the meeting because I had a group class, and that's why I'm not on time. Usually I was. My point is, so when it comes to business or entrepreneurship, there's one simple formula, which is something leads to something. When you do something, that leads to something. When I was like doing this 6 months ago, I had 0 clients, 0 customers, 0 contacts. So you basically Google, how do I start? You will find some information. The only problem nowadays is people are not willing to take action and actually start and get their first rejection out of the way. That's the big problem these days. Like, you will get some information. You will meet someone. You have to have your eyes open. You have to have a good presence of mind to grasp all the information that is in front of you. And I am actually halfway today. I'm halfway towards my milestone of achieving my financial objective. It escalated like crazy.
Perfect.
Nothing in September, nothing in October, and now I'm halfway there. So because when I'm like Googling, what do? I came across 2 applications, Chambers of Commerce and Meetup, and here we go.
Perfect. Okay. So thank you for sharing that with us, Mayank. So the ability to take action is leading you far and wide. I know that you're a mover and shaker. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to go back to Quentin. Would you like to comment on any of this?
Oof, I mean, so much. I mean, one thing that came to mind as well, when Mayank was talking is I feel that one of the great things that we have nowadays is that we have so much information at our fingertips that you can start a business from anywhere, which is absolutely amazing. But one thing I feel that a lot of people are held back with is getting into analysis paralysis, in which you have so many options, and people make the mistake of then just not knowing which one to pick, and not doing like Mayank, who said, well, I found something, I tried it. And then you just go on and you do something, and you get to the next and get to the next. And it goes to what Anna said, which reminded me of the saying, it's better to be messy than right. That especially as a business owner, you're going to make mistake after mistake after mistake. And it's only through these experiences that you're going to learn, from the biggest to the smallest. I mean, I remember when I first started creating content, I mean, I was terrified. I hated the idea of putting something that was going to be public. And it took me ages to publish my first post, because I wanted it to be perfect and before people would scrutinize it. But then it's actually getting into the habit of just publishing when it was good enough, and then just seeing what happened, and like see what people liked, what people didn't like. And then getting used to that feeling of discomfort, that the more you do it, the more it's like a muscle. Getting used to discomfort is like training a muscle. And the more you do it, the more you get used to it. Also means that if you stop doing it for a while, then it takes a bit of time to get back into it. But it is essentially that. It's just about just doing it. I mean, it's again goes back to it's so simple in theory, but it's important to acknowledge that it doesn't mean that it's easy to implement. I think that is because that can feel very discouraging to people sometimes, that you make it sound so simple, but then that just makes me think, well, why can't I do it? It's like, well, it doesn't mean that it's actually easy to do.
And so that's probably why sometimes it's good to reach out to people like Quentin or a coach, because that's where you can guide, encourage, give a path, ask the right questions to get them to take action, because it is hard. I mean, some of us are a lot more proactive and just say, oh, well, you know what? I said, I think I became more active since I turned 60 this year. Okay, last year. That it's like, that's okay. What have I got to lose? And I'm going, too bad I didn't have this mindset 20 years ago. Mind you, I probably did because I've been an entrepreneur most of my year, but I share this because sometimes it's just going, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do it. Like, so it doesn't matter what it is. It's just do something. And it's okay if it's not right. That's life. That's the journey, right? Anybody else got any more? And actually, when you said content, we're going to be talking about content on Thursday at our VIP call. So blogs, articles, content, sharing our expertise and getting comfortable in that skin as well. Anybody else got comments, feedback here? Okay. I see, because everybody is going to be waiting for that PDF file because they're all going to download it, and we're going to the old-fashioned way and print it out, and then we're going to actually go through it. And I'd say, like, you know, after this meeting, at least have one goal, one thing that you're going to take a look at. If there's something that you don't like in your life right now, think about why. Write it down, and hey, reach out to Quentin. Quentin, if you were leaving people with 3 things from this call today, what would it? Oh, sorry, Bernie, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was going to do a quip. It's not marriage counseling, by the way. If there's something you're dissatisfied with, relationship-wise, Quentin's not your man. Well, he might be, but he might help you walk you through it. But
anyway, okay. So since we've got to here, it's 1:51. It's been very thorough. I really liked your conversation. Thank you so much for coming out. What would you suggest? Thinking a little bit, I know it was for, you know, for people that had like it, maybe that some people would think like a job, but entrepreneurship, you've still got a job. It's just that the boss is you. So you have to be more disciplined. So what's three tips that you could leave us entrepreneurs with today?
I mean, the 3 things are very much around what I was saying earlier, which the first one is always, you have to understand what the problem is. That is the number 1 step. Whatever it is that you're doing or not doing, and you should understand what's the problem, you have to dig deep into it. And it's not always easy to do. You have to, like, sometimes take a bit of time to do that, and really sometimes get even brainstorming it with someone. And then after that, it's about then choosing what you're going to do. And that's where the action comes in. It's action, 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 action. That is the number 1 tip. And then through that, which goes with that, and which Anna mentioned, is experiment. It's trying things out. It's iterating, trying one thing. And if it doesn't work, well, trying again in a different way and going through different iterations. And not just trying something once and then leaving it, because it might have failed for many different reasons. So, but at the end, if there is one thing, it's just take action. That's it. You've identified the problem, get what the solution is, and then just do it.
Beautiful.
Can I add a line to him? Like, it's a very good line. A flawed plan with fast execution is way better than a perfect plan with no execution.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it. That's a good one, Mayank. So the ability to just do, no matter what it is, to take that step. And sometimes change can be difficult. So, and that's okay. And like you said, grab a partner, brainstorm with them, because sometimes we get in our own way, right? And we think things that aren't truth. So thank you so much, Quentin. I really appreciate that. Bernie, would you like to share what's coming up next week?
Margaret, oddly enough, yes, I would. So this Thursday, we're having a core VIP session about content, blog, and articles. So that's coming this Thursday at noon hour Eastern Standard Time. Next Tuesday, March 1st. March 1st. That sounds quick.
It's March.
Be a Magical Marketer by Scott Cuthbertson. It's going to be fun introducing him. I'm going to have to practice a bit more. My apologies. He's talking about marketing to folks. And he's a magician. He works out of Scotland. So Quentin, you may as well come on down and go for another ride out in the Ottawa area. At 5 minutes after the hour, We're going to do a survey, and the attachment will be on there. So anybody that's been on this session, I have your email and I have you're programmed into the system. Last thing to remind you on, open the chat box, hit the 3 dots. When you hit the 3 dots, then you'll be able to save the file. If you don't know how to save the file, just click the 3 dots, save chat. It shows you where it saves it on your hard drive. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Bernie. So again, I'm just going to put a little push in there for Thursday. Every Thursday, for those that don't know, we have a theme for the whole year now. So we've got 48 weeks of theme. We started with SMART goals. We've done business plans, pitches, business presentations. Tomorrow, Thursday, what we're moving on is to content, blog, and articles. And everything we're talking about is repurposing and things that as business owners, we all need to keep doing to move forward. So of course, I love the call because it's keeping me accountable. We have some buddies showing up because they're our accountability partners. And we're encouraging people to make a SMART goals playbook. Now, what's really cool that some people may not know is we've actually combined forces with Unified Remote Workplace, and they're providing the services and technologies to help us also do a SMART goal playbook online. So if you don't want a real person for an accountability partner and you sooner set up tasks and stuff and have AI push you in the butt, then this might be a perfect opportunity for you to lock arms with that with our new bronze membership. And also you can share your work groups. As Stefan was mentioning, we're going to be having our own social network online that we'll be inviting with you to in the next week or so. So we're all about getting organized, staying on track with a group of like-minded people. Because Kristen, what was that line you said? How many people do we have to hang around? No, what was the line?
We're the average of the 5 people that we hang out with the most.
There you go.
I would say with the average of 1, one bad person can screw it all up.
We're only moving forward. So you see, in belief setting, I'm going to share. I don't believe that what I go is if you have enough people that think the same, that combine forces on a call, that one person is not going to have any choice but to get positive and join the group, or they'll have to find a different one. We like to be positive and inspiring and help pick people up and motivate them. So Quentin, perfect timing for you. Thank you so much. Really appreciated it. And we're going to be done a few minutes early today. Anybody have any closing notes that they'd like to share before we sign off? Alexander. Okay.
Unmute yourself, Alex.
So Quentin, I just want to tell you that that questions that I ask you, it's applicable also for everyone. Why? Because I love what you said. I love that. I love your previous video that you published on LinkedIn. Really, it's amazing. And I just talk with simple people. No, you talk to everybody, all of us simple people.
Okay, I want to see the video now.
Animals, you talk to people. All of us are people. So be focusing on people, and you're doing a good job. Thank you.
Thanks, Alexander. Prasad, I saw you put your hand up. Did you want to say something? Okay.
Not really. I just wanted to thank for a good discussion.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us today. And I actually connected with Greg. I'm going to put a little thing. I like your profile, Greg, on LinkedIn. It's quite in line with what you do. It's fun.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's pretty ridiculous. So feel free to connect with me if you want ridiculous content.
Okay.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too. So come back anytime. Again, next Tuesday, Thursday, our call is from 12 to 1. And on that note, have a great afternoon. And thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Quentin. Appreciate it.
No, thank you everyone for coming.